Good evening. I was going to say afternoon, but we're almost to evening now. Welcome to our Yukon City Council, Yukon Municipal Authority work session. We're going to turn it over to our city manager for a financial update.
Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. I would like to introduce Philip Murray. Philip Murray, would you like to come up and give us the report? Philip is our treasurer.
Hi, you should have two little packets before you. I'm just going to go over some of the deposit accounts first, because the last time we did this was in March. So there hasn't been many changes. So one of the larger ones, just at the top, is the sinking fund. It's where we pay our GO bond debt. Actually, there's a payment on tonight for almost $70,000, so it'll go down. If approved, it's our annual interest payment. And then going down, and feel free to stop me if you have any questions. Our larger account, pooled cash, towards the middle, it's remained steady. Some of the pest accounts have gone up. Again, that's probably because, or largely because, we haven't shown you this since March, so they typically go up every month as sales tax comes in. We have our reserve fund at the bottom. And then on the back, we have hotel, motel, and TIF, as well as a smaller CD at Interbank that are all doing pretty well. Yes, sir.
Question. Okay, we now know about the past GO bond. Any news on the new one? Nothing new about the new GO bond we're working on?
No, not yet. We're still, the survey is going to go out August 15th or September 1st.
All right.
Yeah, we're
All
not.
right, thank you.
The second packet is summary sheets of our outstanding revenue notes. They're just in order. So we have 17, 18, 19, and 20. So the first two are 17 and 18 revenue note. Those monies are pretty much set aside right now while we're waiting on ODOT to invoice us for State Highway 4 Phase 1. So there's almost $1.5 million right there that we're just kind of on hold for now. Then we have our 2019 revenue note summary, and it's almost used up. It did projects such as Health Center Parkway turn lanes, and we also paid for the Wilshire Road paving out of that note as well. The 2020 note on the back is our largest outstanding one at the moment. And 11th Street, which was recently bid and accepted, will be paid for out of here. And this will also be where the traffic signals along Garth Brooks have been paid for as well. But other than that, if you have any questions, that's kind of all there is right there.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
What about the I-40 Frisco Road interchange? Did we underestimate or overestimate?
I believe when ODOT received the bid, it was under estimates originally, but that project's ongoing with ODOT,
Okay.
so if we expect any back, I imagine it'll be a while.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Capital projects?
Yes, ma'am. I think everyone has a copy of the photos and the updates for the capital projects. We just had the ribbon cutting for the construction of the Garth Brooks Trail. They will start on that. They were supposed to have started on that yesterday. And I believe that I saw some cones yesterday and they had everything blocked, so they're going to be starting down on the south side of the project first, which is down near Vandement and Garth Brooks. The next,
we could have got that started before school.
I wish we could have too.
Because it's going to tie up a lane.
Yes, it will.
For how long?
Approximately 120 days. We tried to get them because it went out to bid and the bid was let in February, but they used the maximum amount of days that ODOT gave them to start the project.
So we're gonna close the outside lane of,
The inside lane, northbound on Garth Brooks.
okay. There's a lot of traffic there in the mornings.
Yes, sir, I understand.
There's a lot of in the afternoon. I mean, it's busy as it is.
I understand. We're just going to have to have officers out there and, yes, Rick?
Yeah, usually that one lane is all for cars dropping off, going in. I remember that. That means there's only one lane that's accessible to go north. You might want to start looking at what other possibilities can we do with that. Because my gosh, that is going to tear us up.
We're just gonna have to get the, no,
You won't be able to
No.
go down the street.
we're gonna
No.
have to let people know that if you wanna go
We will.
northbound,
We will.
they need to go.
Because on a normal school day, traffic's backed up almost to 7-Eleven sometimes on Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
And if we're gonna close down a lane, we've also got traffic coming.
Yes, the police, John Corn, is aware of all of that, so we will be getting some assistance whenever they are in that area. So they're only going to block 200 feet and take that one lane out. They're only going to detour that area. So,
The good news is gonna be when you exit, there'll be no traffic because all the traffic is gonna be turning into the school. So exiting will make it faster.
yes.
Does that make
So
sense?
we're aware of it and we will be on it.
Good luck. Good luck, Chief.
Our next project is Frisco and I-40 interchange. Construction is almost complete. We will be having the ribbon cutting on Friday, August the 27th, and we hope everyone can make it for that. This is really an exciting opportunity for Yukon because this is going to open up the economic development in that area. And Sherwood construction has done a great job with this, and they're right on schedule. State Highway 4, Phase 2. The relocation of the water and sewer lines are almost complete. Probably 2 to 3 weeks, they will be finished. We had meetings with them today. ODOT is expecting to advertise in November, and construction will start in 2022. The next item is Garth Brooks Boulevard traffic improvement. This is the smart grid that is going to be placed at the intersections on Garth Brooks. It looks like they should start probably by next week, and it should take about 120 days to complete that.
What's the process on that? What are they gonna need to do at each intersection?
They are,
Like
Robbie,
close-
I'll have to get you because I'm technically, that's with TEC, and he can tell you.
We have 5 intersections where we're going to put the video detection. We've already installed the cabinet controllers. And from our pre-work meeting, I believe he's going to start at Bandiment and do the 5 intersections going south.
So what's the process do they need to shut down anything lane-wise, or since we're shutting down lane?
No, he may shut down for 12 hours or 18 hours if he has to shut a lane down just to put the camera on the pole.
Okay, so it's not a huge,
No.
big deal, okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, and our next item is 11th Street. It looks like they are probably going to start the beginning of September. We'd hoped that they would start sooner, but we received word today that they will begin by the beginning of September. It'll take approximately 60 days. Swartz is the contractor on that project. Bass Bridge. We've had quite a few drainage problems lately, and with all the rain that we received this summer and this last spring, we had a lot of problems with those areas, everything that's on Turtle Creek. And we are going to begin working on this. The council approved this project. Brewer Construction will start on this August the 4th. And they will be going in and replacing that wall and moving some of the dirt there so that it will flow a lot better and it will drain better. A lot of our problems we had a lot of logs and brush and limbs up around the Spring Creek area behind there by the park. And we've gone in there and cleaned all of those out as well. So hopefully that will help. I think with our ice storm that we had last fall, it really, with all the limbs and everything that broke, and unfortunately a lot of those limbs were thrown into the drainage ditch and in Turtle Creek. And so we've gone in and taken care of that.
Good, thank you for that.
So those are the projects that we've got going on right now. We've got some other ones that will be coming up in the future. We've got some issues on Yukon Avenue on the bridge there. We also have some issues on Yukon Avenue by Kimball Park. We're going in and looking at that right now and trying to get an estimate on what that's going to cost, because some of their property has been eroded, and we want to go in and fix that. We've met with the residents and we're working on that right now, so we're busy.
Yes.
Okay, the next item that I would like to discuss with you is the Central Oklahoma Water Resource Authority. COWRA, as it was nicknamed, was formed in 2000. The resolution was approved in 2007. Basically what the Central Oklahoma Water Resource Authority was formed to actively and timely participate in the plan and schedule for the creation of the Oklahoma Regional Water Utilities Trust pursuant to the terms of the attached resolution on behalf of the city. The following cities came together and created this organization. It was the town of Calumet, the city of El Reno, the city of Mustang, the town of Okarche, the city of Piedmont, the town of Union City, and the city of Yukon. Since over the last 20 years that this organization was formed, they've had monthly meetings. They have tried to find resources within our county to find a water source that would be an alternative to us purchasing water from Oklahoma City. They have looked and hired engineers and hired lobbyists and tried to do everything they could to find that. Several years ago, they went together and hired an engineering firm. They've hired several engineering firms, but the last one was Garver. And Garver came up with a plan to build a water plant that would be for the cities that were left, which were Mustang and Yukon. These two were the only ones that were left after all these years. The others had dropped out, whether it was they weren't interested in it anymore, they didn't see any moving forward, or they didn't want to pay what the fee was, and it was all based on population. So everyone had a different fee in order to be a member of this group. At the current time, like I said, Mustang and Yukon are the only towns that are left. I'm going to ask Arnold to come up and he can kind of give you an explanation of what they came up with and let you know a little bit about the Garver study that they did.
I'm going to repeat a little bit of what Tammy has narrated on. My time with Cower, excuse me. In 2016, Cower sent out a RFP for, proposals for water for Canadian County. They received, 5 engineers presented plans. In 2008, early 2018, Garver was picked. I believe sometime late 2018, Garver presented a plan for Cowra. And they looked at from here to Call Lake, Rush Springs Aquifer, Call Lake, Canadian River, alluvial, the Ogallala, and then at a new community, buying water from a new community and building a water plant. So they present this, the presentation is, some of you have been through it, I know.
Yeah.
It's very lengthy, it's very hard to understand if you, but just to cut everything short, so the best plans they came up with was a short-term, they gave us a short-term and a long-term. So they gave us 2 short-term plans. One was for Yukon or Mustang to build their own water plant, so they could produce all the water that comes from our well field. So to produce 4.3 million gallons a day, what we can produce from the wells, the initial plan was a $7.3 million capital to spend up front to build the plant, and then spend $31.9 million over 25 years. The second short-term plan was for Yukon and Mustang to build a plant together and bring both communities' water together. The capital for that project would be $21.8 million and would spend $63.9 million over the next 25 years. And that would produce upwards of 7.7 million gallons per day. And so the long-term plan is for Yukon and Mustang to build a water plant, bring all of our water together, go outside to an outside community and buy some water rights from that community, bring that into the plant and produce it. That plan would cost $129 million upfront capital and $241 million over the next 25 years. Is there any questions on any of that?
Well, we've already paid Cowra, we've already paid Garver all this money to tell us what to do. So do we just keep on paying these people to keep telling us the same thing over and over, or are we gonna do something?
No,
There-
Garver was paid for what they.
Yeah, for what they
produced.
told us to do. So
Right.
we've got 3 options. And so now I'm wondering, are we gonna
But I
have some more
believe there
meetings?
are other options.
That's what we're to discuss tonight, the answer to your question, Rick.
Okay. I just hate seeing taxpayer dollars, we keep putting them out to be told the same thing. I just have an issue with that.
So we wanted to see what was available, and those were the options that we were given by Cowra. And so does Cowra have any more work to do, or was that what their intent was?
I believe that's what the intent was, to find that. There was one other process, excuse me, I'm gonna go back a little bit. There was one other process, was to build a pilot arsenic removal at each individual well, or pick which well we wanted to do that at. And I was asked by Tammy to run the numbers, if we were to go do that, or how long would it take to pay that initial cost back? And so it would cost us, where's it at? $562,000 capital, and it would cost us $846,000 over the next 20 years. So I ran the numbers on that. If we stay purchasing Oklahoma City Water, or compared to those numbers, it would take us almost exactly 20 years to pay for that system. And at that time, I feel it'd be time to put a new system in there. And all those numbers are ran at today's cost. It's not looking in what's gonna happen 10 years from now or 20, that's at today's.
Mustang's currently using that pilot program, aren't they?
I believe they're,
Right. How successful has it been for them?
I don't believe they haven't started yet. I believe they're in the process of getting it built now.
I thought they
No,
started.
they've started.
Yeah,
Oh, they have
They
started?
have.
Okay.
yeah. I just didn't know if they'd gotten their numbers back to see how successful.
They have not gotten, I haven't gotten a copy of their numbers, but it has been successful of removing the arsenic from the water, from those wells that had too much arsenic in them.
The city of Norman's been using this process for, I think, about 15 years, and it works, but it's just getting rid of the media and
Right.
the operational cost.
If we did the pilot program, then do we still buy water from Oklahoma City at the amount? I know we would never discontinue our relationship with Oklahoma City, but will we continue buying at the amount that we're buying?
If we did one well can produce 115,200 gallons per day, which over a 20-year period is 841 million gallons. So we would have to still buy a lot from
A
Oklahoma
lot
City.
still from them. In your opinion, what's the best option?
In my opinion, is to keep the Oklahoma City contract.
And do the arsenic?
Well, I don't believe it's worth the money right now. I believe we should have a plan, which we do. We've got Garver worked us up a program if we want to do the arsenic removal. I think we keep that in place. And if something happened, Oklahoma City water went 50% higher, then I believe it's time. But in my opinion, you don't get the bang for the buck right now.
Right.
And there's so many other capital projects that we need to focus on. I don't believe it's worth it at this point.
Thank you.
If we did begin to remove the arsenic, how long would it take to set that up at a well? How long does it take to?
Oh, I believe from the time, if we went right now, we could have it up and going in about 6 months, have it built and producing water.
So, therefore, Cowra has served its purpose as to find another source or to find another alternative to find more water. Like I said, out of all of those towns or cities that first began, only 2 of them are left, and that's Mustang and Yukon. We spoke with the city of Mustang yesterday, and I gave you all a copy of the letter that we received from their city manager, Tim Rooney. At this time, they are not interested in building a plant by themselves or with us. They are going to put their money into rehabilitating their infrastructure and into this pilot program that they're currently doing right now. There is some money that is left in the Cowra fund. I believe they have not paid no one has paid any dues for the last couple of years. But there is some money that would need to be dispersed if we dissolved the authority. And I'm going to ask Roger to talk to you about that, to let you know what we would need to do to proceed that.
Good evening. The trust indenture for the Water Authority basically says that it's irrevocable, but it does say that the trust shall terminate when the purposes have been fully executed. Well, you can make an argument that where they are today is that the purposes have been fully executed. It also says that it can be that can be terminated in the manner provided by Title 60, Section 180. And that states that any trust may be terminated by agreement of the trustee, which at this point, since there's just 2, it would only be those 2, or if there be more than one, then all of the trustees, so it would take both of them, and the governing body of the beneficiary. Well, the way the trust indenture reads, the county of Canadian County itself is the beneficiary, and so the governing body of that would be the county commissioners. They would have to join in with you. Then you have to submit it to the governor for approval. That might be a pretty easy process if everyone's in agreement. I don't know what the tenure is at the Board of County Commissioners, what their provision is. It just basically means that the co-trustees and the county commissioner as the governing body can jointly terminate the trust with the approval of the governor so long as there's not outstanding contractual obligations or debt I don't know anything about their financial picture, but it doesn't sound like they have it. Are they current with their engineers,
That's-
as far as you know?
That's my understanding. We take care of the accounting of, and we have the money. We've been taking care of all the financial records and everything since its inception.
So, you know, if the process could start with a vote of this body to terminate the agreement and to terminate the trust. And then if Mustang did the same thing, it sounds like they might be along the same wavelength. Then we could present that to the county commissioners and go from there.
There's money in some of the little cities. They have like maybe $5,000 in their name and a couple of the other little cities. So does that money revert back to those little cities since they're not part of it?
I don't know that specifically, but if the individual cities contributed and it's earmarked for them within the
Right.
funds that are held, then it should probably rightfully go back.
Go
the
back to
cities that
them,
contributed.
right? So it wouldn't just be split
I don't think so,
between,
because they contributed by population. I mean, I'm sure that Calumet didn't play the same amount that
no.
that Yukon did. I know for a fact El Reno was one of the first ones to pull out, so, and they may have left some money there as well. I don't know.
They did. Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
okay.
So, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council, that item will be coming forward. I have spoken to Jeannie Vinson, she is our member and our representative. And former Mayor Larry Taylor is also one of our representatives. So I think that we need to follow through with that there's no reason to have any more meetings.
Because what were our dues for that yearly? Was it 30-something?
I can't remember for sure. I'd hate to quote that.
About 30-something thousand. That's what I thought. That we're paying every year to keep this organization going.
It was just a little over 30,000.
Right, that's what I thought.
But we haven't paid in a couple of years. So, third.
Okay. So what is your recommendation?
I recommend that we dissolve CALRA.
Okay, so we'll be voting on that tonight. Does anyone
No,
have any
we
oh,
won't
we're not
vote on
voting
it.
on
We
that.
just had the discussion tonight.
Okay. Anybody have any questions about that?
I'm glad we're gonna start saving some money.
And it was a good organization. It did what it was supposed to do. And it's given us several options of what we can do, along with some others that Mustang has shown us too. Okay?
Okay.
All right, do you have anything else for us?
No, ma'am.
Anybody have any questions about any of this tonight? All right, we'll dismiss. See you back here at 7 o'clock.